What we have seen since the beginning of the year is a descent into tyranny and a brazen abuse of power. Those entrusted with power appear determined to destabilize what is left of our political institutions and have committed themselves to obliterating the guardrails of constitutional governance. From the theater of the absurd, staged in Rivers State, with puppets on strings controlled by directors in Abuja, to the dance of shame performed by the National Assembly in their rush to suspend the Constitution and endorse through the back door the usurpation of powers by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from the Senate shameless deed to silence Senator NATASHA for demanding that the President of the Nigerian Senate should uphold the moral standard required of that office, to the uncouth outburst of an undistinguished senatorial misfit who tried in vain to silence the distinguished citizens attempting to testify on behalf of Senator AKPOTI. It is clear that our so-called leaders are determined to turn Nigeria into a mafia state. The two main contenders in the ongoing institutional immorality Olympics are the executive and the legislature. It's often said that these two arms of government suffer the worst forms of arrested development because they were the direct victims of the military era. But after 26 years of uninterrupted democracy, one must ask how much longer before our institutions finally mature. While it is not in dispute that our institutions and constitution are inadequate, it has become obvious that our biggest problems in this nation are the occupiers of these institutions and executors of the Constitution. The quality of leadership in Nigeria has become so repugnant that citizens must declare a state of emergency on governance, demanding that every aspiring public office holder undergo rigorous psychiatric evaluation before seeking election. Dear Nigerians, the event that unfolded on the floor of the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions on Tuesday, March 25, 2025, are an apt and timely illustration of our leadership deficit. Senate, the word, originates from the Latin senatus, which means Council of Elders. Elders, as used in this context, does not necessarily connote chronological age, but a demonstration of such wisdom, decorum, and decency that commands respect. Senator Onyekachi Iwemboye's descent into street-level vitriol was an affront to the essence of the Senate. Instead of engaging the visiting citizens in reasoned, factual debate, he chose to drag the hallowed chambers through the mud. Dr. Ezekwesili, in recognition of our accomplishments in political reform and gender inclusion advocacy, was appointed chairwoman of the Board of Women Political Leaders, WPL, a global body based in Brussels, Belgium, in February 2023. In that capacity, it is our responsibility to speak up whenever a female Nigerian politician is subjected to the misogynistic idiosyncrasies of politics in Nigeria. It was in that capacity that she appeared to speak for Senator NATASHA who has leveled allegations of sexual harassment against the President of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Godswill Akpabio. There is clear evidence in reports and recordings from the occasion that there were repeated attempts to intimidate and silence Dr. Ezekwesili and our team. The institutional collapse and the failure of our leadership recruitment process was summed up in Senator Iwemboye's statement to Dr. Ezekwesili. People like you cannot be here. People like who exactly? What that means is that the Senate is not a place for the best, it's not a place for the brightest, it's not a place for the fittest and most competent in our country. What that means is that our political institutions are not designed for people of character, competence, and capacity, as Dr. Ezekwesili often puts it. What that means is that our legislature is not designed for people who are sticklers for accountability and due process, but for a band of legislators. For those who question why Dr. Ezekwesili stood up to the bullies and fought back, let me remind us that in the God-given wisdom of King Solomon, there are two ways to respond to such situations. And these two ways are found in Proverbs chapter 26, verses 4 and 5. It states, and I quote, verse number 4, "Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like him." Verse 5, "Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own eyes." While Dr. Ezekwesili chose to apply the wisdom contained in verse number 5, "For the attacked dogs who may come after me, for standing with my sister and compatriot, I rest my case with the wisdom contained in verse 4. I'm not going to join issues with you. Fellow citizens, at the center of this political banditry is the motor park brand of politics, nurtured by the old brigade politicians, and in recent times by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Mr. President, it is through your influence that the Nigerian National Assembly has become a haven for legislative rascality. Mr. President, it is under your watch that the National Assembly has become an extension of the executive, grossly violating the principles of separation of powers and rubber stamping the whims and caprices of your office, all while singing the international anthem of sycophants on your mandate which has stand. Mr. President, thanks to your political machinations, Nigeria is now bedeviled by a captured National Assembly, the most ineffective in its checks and balances role since the start of the Fourth Republic. In 2006, the Fourth National Assembly had the audacity to reject the tenure exemption bid of a sitting president. In 2010, the Sixth National Assembly summoned the courage to stand against the power hijacking cabal and restore Nigeria to the path of constitutionality by invoking the doctrine of necessity. In 2011, the House of Representatives of the Seventh National Assembly had the courage to elect its leaders, as did the Senate of the Eighth National Assembly in 2015, defying executive interference. This National Assembly, the 10th, has by its unconstitutional endorsement of the President's abuse of powers proven to be the most spineless in our recent history. Through its actions and inactions, the National Assembly has in effect become the 48th member of the President's cabinet.